Junior Factor Nation. Speak without fear.
All right. Barack Obama's most radical moments. I'm going to have some fun with this because the guy throughout his presidency has said some ridiculous, outrageous comments, some of which prove, I think, that he is a socialist. And I think I have 2 of the 5 sound bites prove that. But this first one that I want to play, again, there are 5 sound bites. This first ridiculous comment that President Obama has said is when he said that, don't worry, the private sector is doing fine.
The truth of the matter is that, as I said, we've created 4.3 million jobs over the last 27 months. Over 800,000 just this year alone. The private sector is doing fine.
Okay, where on earth is he getting that information from? There's being jobs created, the private sector is fine. What is he talking about? The economy is in shambles. It's collapsing. I actually watched this this economist the other day. He's a conservative economist, and he brought up a really, really interesting point. He was talking a little bit about inflation and how he basically said that the government sometimes underestimates inflation, the inflation rate, and they then use that to determine how well the economy is doing. So that's why they're getting these, jobs are creating and unemployment is going down. That's where they're getting these good numbers. If they really, really took into account the true inflation rate and didn't just estimate it, then I think we would see that the truth about the economy is that it's declining. It's falling apart. President Obama, the private sector's fine. What are you talking about? The majority, ask the majority of small business owners, Mr. President. The majority of them feel that we are still in a recession. They're still feeling the effects of it. I know you really can't because you just sit in the Oval Office and fly aboard Air Force One and play that game you love so much called golf. But for the small business owners out there, they're feeling the effects of it. They're hurting. The economy, the private sector is getting worse. The economy has virtually slowed down to a halt. Here's President Obama's next comment that he said. Of course, this you know I was going to play this one. This is when he said that basically if you have a business, you didn't build that. Listen.
You got a business, that you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
What does that even mean? If you've got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen? What? Keep in mind, this is when President Obama said this, he was not reading a teleprompter. All of these thoughts were coming from his head. I think that when President Obama is reading from his teleprompter, when President Obama has a script right in front of him, then he appears to be more moderate and, I'm the good guy, don't worry, I'm going to restore America. But when he's just speaking from his mind, when he's not reading a teleprompter or a script, he says what he truly thinks about America. And in this case, this is the perfect example. He wasn't reading from a teleprompter, and he says, if you have a business, you didn't build that. That is the most unpatriotic thing I have ever heard any president say. Ever. And I've read a lot of history books. I know about a lot of presidents. That is probably one of the most unpatriotic, un-American things I have ever heard. If you have a business, you didn't build that. That is an insult to entrepreneurs everywhere. My grandfather has his own business. He built it. He took the initiative. He had the ideas. He had the persistency. He had the determination to build his own business. Oh, well, they were talking about the roads. The government builds the roads, so without the roads, you wouldn't be able to get to work. Are you kidding me? That's what the far left has been saying to try to cover this up. Well, he was talking about the roads there and the bridges. Without those, you couldn't get to work. Come on. Come on. That is the stupidest argument I think I have ever heard. You need to give back. The rich need to be taxed more because we built the roads and bridges that let your business thrive? Come on. President Obama's next one, and this is one of the comments that I believe shows his true intentions, that he is in fact a socialist. Here he is talking about spreading the wealth. Listen.
Your new tax plan is going to tax me more, isn't it?
It's not that I want to punish your success. I just want to make sure that everybody who is behind you, that they've got a chance at success too. I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody.
All right. It was kind of hard to hear, but what he said was he thinks that when you spread the wealth around, it is good for everybody. This was Barack Obama speaking in 2008 with Samuel Joseph, oh boy, there's a hard last name, Wurzelbacher, also known as Joe the Plumber. He was kind of speaking one-on-one with him. And he basically, Joe the Plumber basically said, oh, well, you're going to raise taxes on me, aren't you? And President Obama said, yes, but it's not to punish you for your success. I just believe that when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody. Guys, spreading the wealth around is socialism. I don't know how he's essentially coming out and saying, guys, I'm a socialist. I don't know how more obvious it could be. And as we all know, socialism, the Founding Fathers tried to make that unconstitutional. I'll explain why after I play the second clip of that kind of leads me to believe that President Obama has socialist tendencies. Here it is.
Too many folks still don't have a sense that tomorrow will be better than today. And so the question in this election is, which way do we go? Do we go forward towards a new vision of an America in which prosperity is shared, or do we go
prosperity is shared
to the same policies that got us into this mess in the first place? You know, I believe we have to go forward. I believe we've got to keep working to create an America where no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter where you come from, no matter what your last name is, no matter who you love, you can make it here if you try.
Unless you're not racially diverse enough to compete in a competition. Anyway, President Obama there was saying that we have basically two choices. We can either keep moving forward and create an America where prosperity is shared, or we can go backwards to the time where these tax breaks and the low spending got us into this mess. Mr. President, if those are my two choices, I will choose low taxes and minimal government any day of the week. I should be thanking him, honestly, for saying this, because for years, 3 years I've been in broadcasting, I've been asking the question, when President Obama said in 2008, I believe was the year, that we are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming America. I have been asking for 3 years, Mr. President, transform America into what? Then he came out with his new slogan, forward. I asked the question, forward to what? Now he is answering it. Now he is answering that question. Forward to an America where prosperity is shared. Fundamental transformation into a socialist America where we spread the wealth. That is what he means by forward. That is what he wants to fundamentally transform America into. It's as clear as day. And people honestly are I believe, in denial. We have this one kid that comments on our Facebook page all the time. Obama is not a socialist. Why do conservatives always say that? He mocks us. He says, he makes fun of us for calling him a socialist. I just played 2 clips, 2 sound bites of him saying that we need to spread the wealth and we need an America where prosperity is shared. If that's not socialism, then I don't know what is. To me, it is incredibly clear. Now, this last soundbite I have is probably one of the most scary, terrifying things I have ever heard President Obama say. He was basically caught, and you all know this. You saw this on the news. His mic picked this up, and he was speaking to the president of Russia. And basically, he said that when he secures the election in November, he will have a lot more flexibility to do whatever he wants. It's kind of hard to hear, but listen.
My last election.
Yeah,
After my election, I have more flexibility. Yep.
Yeah, I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir and understand.
After my election, I have more flexibility. Guys, the pieces to the puzzle are all coming together here. We've been trying to figure this guy out for years. Some of us were fortunate enough to know exactly who he was going into the election, but for a lot of people, we've been trying to figure out President Obama's true intentions for years. Now, finally, all the pieces are coming together. He wants to transform America into a socialist state, into a nanny state, into a state of big government. That's what he wants to fundamentally transform us into. More flexibility to do what? Well, based on those two other clips that I played, he wants to create an America where prosperity is shared and the wealth is just redistributed. That's where we're going, guys. The choice is yours in November. Final thoughts when we come back.
Factor Talk Radio.